Last month, Barbados received over 16,000 pediatric COVID-19 vaccines. It was a welcome gift to boost the island's fight against the virus ahead of the return to school in 2 weeks. Children ages 5 to 11 have begun to receive it, and co-coordinator of the COVID-19 National Vaccination Programme, Dr Elizabeth Ferdinand, has been sharing the facts about the vaccine while encouraging parents to vaccinate. We'll also hear from one of the parents whose children were among the first to receive the vaccine. All this and more on our CBC News at Dr. Ferdinand, thanks for joining us. Tell us about the pediatric vaccines we've received.
We've received the pediatric vaccines as gifts, some from the government of Guyana, and on Friday we received a batch from the government of the United Kingdom. So we're very thankful for that. In all, it comes to about 16,800 doses. Okay? Now, the vaccine itself is Pfizer, so it's made with mRNA technology, but it is different from the adult mRNA. Right? First of all, there's a different dilution factor in making up the vaccine, and also there's a different, much smaller dose that is being given to the children. So we have to make sure that we keep the vaccines separate so that no errors occur.
Different vaccines, different training. Has training started in the public and private sector?
Yes, training has been completed for the public sector. I'm still yet to train the pediatricians and other doctors who are willing to do the vaccine. So that will be shortly done. So maybe by next week, the private sector might come on board.
How many children are we able to vaccinate with this current supply?
Roughly maybe 9,000 children, yes, fully vaccinated, yes.
Now, understandably, many parents are asking the necessary questions, particularly regarding side effects. What is the research saying?
Well, the side effects are like any vaccine. You're going to get a little fever, or you may get a little fever, and you may get some pain at the vaccination site. There's some reports that children might have a little syncope or what we call fainting. So we have to be careful after vaccine that they don't run off and leave. They have to stay the regular 15 minutes just to make sure that they're okay.
What's been the response so far?
Well,
are you expecting an influx?
Well, I'm hoping that we have an influx because it's important that the children get vaccinated, especially now that school is starting in the next couple of weeks. So we have a few people here waiting at the site I am at, and I'm pleased that people have come forward because we really have not had a major media blast as yet. So these are people who are anxious to have the children done, and they've come forward.
Now, Dr. Ferdinand, vaccinating school children is nothing new in Barbados. And with school resuming this month, for those going into primary and secondary schools, there are vaccines which are mandatory. Can you tell us about those?
Okay, so we do have, as all people know, mandatory vaccines like polio, diphtheria, tetanus, whooping cough, pneumococcus. Those are all mandatory, measles and mumps and rubella. But this is not a mandatory vaccine. So please, we are not making it mandatory. It is the parents' wish, and some children have a wish as well to have it. So it is not mandatory.
Not mandatory, but still important.
Advisable. It's important and it's advisable because we're going back into the school setting again. They're going to be, it's natural that we play with each other, we, socialize, and it's been difficult with all the social distancing on the children. So when they go back into that environment, the virus will be able to pass more quickly. So if you have a line of protection, which is a vaccination, it will help you to either, if you do catch it, not to have a serious effect or not to carry it home to your parents or grandparents.
Now, we know that the COVID-19 virus primarily impacts the elderly, but have we had children in Barbados who have had the virus severely?
Well, we've had one serious case with I think, deaths last year, early in the episode, where they get this very serious condition where all the organs shut down. And I think we did have one child reported in the press I think Dr. Cave at the time spoke about it. And so that's, of course, a very serious side effect of the disease. And this vaccine also is very important for children who have any kind of immunocompromised state, cancers, anything like that, or any other serious disease that will affect their immune system. It's strongly advised that they do get vaccinated, which will help prevent very serious complications of the disease.
And finally, Dr. Ferdinand, what would you say to those parents who are hesitant?
Well, first of all, vaccinations are not new. We've been doing vaccinations for years, yes, with other antigens, but there's no problem with having vaccines. I'm sure the parents themselves have had vaccines as children and are here to tell the tale, You see, we don't see things like measles, we don't see polio now these days because the immunizations have licked them away. So that's how and what we want to do with COVID, so we can get on with our lives.
Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, Krystal, thank you.
Following my interview with Dr. Ferdinand, the vaccines arrived, and we got a first-hand look at the pediatric vials. Mother of 4, Nicole Gibson, was among the first to have her children vaccinated. She told CBC News it was necessary.
I came today because I only had 2 persons in my household who would not have been fully vaccinated, who would not have been vaccinated at all. And in light of the fact that the government is reducing the restrictions, it made me uncomfortable because by reducing the restrictions, you are increasing the possibility of exposure. So I made sure that I came here today, being the first day, to be able to provide a layer of protection for my children. So that's the reason why I'm here.
So he is fully vaccinated?
He's fully, we actually came to get our boosters as well. So he's fully vaccinated. It was just Jordan, who is 6, and Eden, who's 10, who didn't have the vaccine.
As a family, why was vaccination important?
Well, it was important for me because you are fighting against something that you cannot see. It is very real to me because the number of people that have died because of COVID, I did not see it as being a toss-up or a topic for discussion. And in light of the fact that they go to school every day, they are mingling with other children. You don't know who is mingling with who. I saw it as being necessary. And then we travel every year because my parents live in the States. And even when we came back this time around, you actually saw the inconvenience of not being vaccinated because you're treated differently in terms of you have to get a test. You don't know what the restrictions are, but with persons who are vaccinated, you just go right through. So it gives a sense of convenience by having the vaccine.
Nicole, vaccines are not uncommon for children going into school, but were you hesitant about the COVID-19 vaccine in particular?
No, because, well, to be totally honest, initially I was hesitant when I had to get my vaccine, but because I work for a financial institution, I would have been in contact with the public, even during the time where persons were home. And it prompted me to go and get it because I could have been exposing my family. When I had gotten my vaccine, it kind of lessen the hesitation and all the doubt because with my experience, I realized it was fine. And earlier this year, even though I had been fully vaccinated and I had my booster, I still got COVID. And I had to say that having gone through that experience, I saw the importance of having that vaccine because my symptoms were very horrific. I had internal bleeding, I had periods where I just could not breathe. And if I had not have had that layer of protection, I honestly cannot tell you if I would be here talking to you today. So having gone through that and survived it, that was definitely it for me. And I wanted to be able to provide that same layer of protection for my children as well.
What do you say to parents who are hesitant?
Well, at the ending of the day, life is a choice, and I would never tell anybody what they should and should not do. But I think as a parent, as a good friend of mine would say, you should always strive to provide a better life for the next generation. And we all grew up with vaccines. We all grew up with all kinds of vaccines, and we're all still here to tell the tale. And the number of people in the world and even in Barbados that have already received vaccines and they're still here, it would show you that, there is a net of safety in terms of actually going through the process. And in terms of us returning to normalcy, I would prompt or encourage people to get the vaccine.
9-year-old Jonathan Foster spoke to us after getting his vaccine. Tell me about getting vaccinated today. Was it painful? What was your experience like? And did you want to be vaccinated?
I didn't want to be vaccinated. It wasn't painful. I could feel it going in, and it didn't really feel that painful. It did feel a little painful, but mostly it felt weird.
What would you say to your friends who are going back to school with you now?
I would say get vaccinated to keep your family safe, keep your other friends safe, keep everybody safe.
Vaccination for children ages 5 to 11 is available at Harbour Road in St. Michael, as well as the Glebe in St. George. I'm Krystal Hoyte. Thanks for joining us.